Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for March 27th. March 27th is the 86th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 87th in leap years, with 279 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is trencherman. This is a noun that means a hearty eater, a person who is devoted to eating and drinking to excess. And it can also refer to a hanger-on or a parasite. The etymology of this word comes to us ultimately from Latin through Old French to mean a flat piece of wood upon which food is served or carved, a trencher. Earliest documented use of this word is 1590. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes and ask you to go ahead and click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others. Stay tuned for those outtakes, and let's get on with the day's history. We're going to start in the year 1513 when the Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon reached the northern end of the Bahamas on his first voyage to Florida. On March 27, 1794, the United States government established a permanent navy. This is the birthday of French engineer, urban planner, and politician Georges-Eugène Haussmann, born March 27, 1809. We have mentioned him recently. His name had become one of our recent words of the day. Houseman was the guy behind the huge urban renewal project of Paris in the 1800s. The effect of his influence and ideas are still evident in Paris today. He lived to the age of 81. On March 27, 1829, President Andrew Jackson defied Washington society matrons and appointed scandal-plagued John Eaton as his Secretary of War. And what was so scandalous about John Eaton? He married a young widow who had been a tavern maid. She actually sounds like an interesting character, but... And of course, there's more to it than all of that. But the stiff upper lips of Washington at the time, the high, fine ladies of Washington society didn't like her. They could find all kinds of things wrong with her, and of course, anyone who might be associated with her, like Mr. Eaton. So people were trying to suggest to President Jackson that he select someone else for that job. And I appreciate him standing up for someone he believed in. He said, do you suppose that I've been sent here by the people to consult with the ladies of Washington as to the proper persons to compose my cabinet? This to-do came to be known as the Petticoat Affair, and it seems that no one was ambivalent in their views on the matter. March 27, 1836, on a Palm Sunday, the Mexican Army, on orders of Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, massacred 342 Texas prisoners of war at Goliad, Texas. This is the birthday of German physicist, academic, and Nobel laureate Wilhelm Röntgen, born March 27, 1845. He produced and detected what we now know as X-rays. Now there's a history changer for you. He lived to the age of 77. Also the birthday of English engineer and businessman Henry Royce, who founded Rolls-Royce Limited. He was born on March 27, 1863, and lived to the age of 70. It's the birthday of a woman named Patti Smith Hill, born March 27, 1868. She, along with her sister Mildred, wrote a tune we all know as Happy Birthday to You. She lived to the age of 78. On March 27, 1905, a couple of shopkeepers in South London were discovered badly bludgeoned, one of them dead. Thomas Farrow had not survived, and his wife Anna was unconscious. She never regained consciousness before passing away a few days later. The crime of their assault and murder, however, was solved using the newly developed technique of fingerprinting. This was the first time this technology was used to solve a high-profile murder case. On March 27, 1912, Japanese cherry trees were planted along the Potomac River near Jefferson Memorial. Now here's an interesting piece of news significant to current events. A woman come to be known as Typhoid Mary, the first healthy carrier of the disease ever identified in the United States, was put in quarantine for the second time, where she would remain for the rest of her life. She spent nearly 3 decades in isolation. Today, the term Typhoid Mary is now a colloquial term for anyone who, knowingly or not, spreads disease or some other undesirable thing. That was an interesting story about Typhoid Mary. I just kind of glossed over the surface of it, but she was an asymptomatic carrier and didn't believe that she was passing this disease along, but every place she worked, people died. So, did you know that March Madness has been around since 1939? Yes, on March 27, 1939, the University of Oregon defeated the Ohio State University 46-33, winning the first ever NCAA men's basketball tournament. Unfortunately, in 2020, March Madness is on hold, replaced for a time with another kind of madness. Quarantine and social distancing. Hopefully, we'll be back to business as usual for March Madness of 2021. March 27, 1939 is the birthday of American race car driver and businessman Cale Yarborough. Still alive as I report this in 2020, he turns 81. Kiichiro Toyoda, founder of the Toyota Motor Corporation, died on March 27, 1952, at the age of 57. On March 27, 1958, Soviet First Secretary Nikita Khrushchev also became Soviet Premier. So he had 2 jobs. On March 27, 1964, southern Alaska experienced a 9.2 earthquake. Holy cow. Known as the Good Friday earthquake, it is the most powerful earthquake recorded in North American history. 131 people died, thousands were injured. The city of Anchorage was hit pretty hard with the most property damage. This quake also caused a significant tsunami that measured over 100 feet in some places and reached as far as Hawaii. Actor Marlon Brando declined his Academy Award for Best Actor on March 27, 1973. I remember that. This was for his performance of Vito Corleone in The Godfather. Instead of attending the ceremony himself, he sent Native American actress Sacheen Littlefeather, who attended the ceremony in Brando's place, and stated that the actor very regretfully could not accept the award as he was protesting Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans in films. Pattie Boyd and Eric Clapton got married on March 27, 1979. Of course, you know who Eric Clapton is, Old Slow Hand, Mr. Bell-Bottom Blues, and so on. But you're thinking, now, Pattie Boyd, that name seems familiar, but why? Well, it is that she was originally married to George Harrison of the Beatles. Now, there's a lot more story there. But the point of this is to say that Eric Clapton and Pattie Boyd got married on March 27, 1979. On March 27, 1998, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, approved the drug known as Viagra for impotence. Originally made and studied for blood pressure and angina, they discovered that it didn't have much, if any, effect on angina, but it had this other effect, which has made its drug makers and makers of related drugs a lot of money. And as we get ready to wrap this up, it's late in the day on the 27th as I complete today's research for March 27th, and so it is that this final item for today will be history in future years, as President Donald Trump has signed the historic stimulus bill, $2.2 trillion, a number I can't even relate to. Trillions of dollars in stimulus to America in these days as we are affected by the quarantine and social distancing due to the COVID-19 virus. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Happy Friday, everyone. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Remember that you can share this with your friends through a link in email or social media. You know you want to do that so that your friends will know what you know. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Oops, I'll have to go tend to that in a minute. I don't have all the text. Okay, we gotta make that go to sleep. We'll do that in a minute. And we'll probably leave that part out. How many times are we gonna have to do this over? Okay. So many mistakes. We're not gonna go into all that. Okay. I don't know how all that's gonna go together, or if it's even gonna make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna cut those out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video, we'll see. Changing it up.